Johari Matthews, Vice President and Executive Director of One Community and the Tennessee Titans Foundation with the Tennessee Titans. I'm a Nashville native, and I think a big part of my journey is that I grew up in the South Nashville, Woodbine area, which is a very diverse part of town, and it taught me very quickly just about the importance of community. I fell in love and was introduced to nonprofit work, which at the time when I was in high school, I didn't know the name for it, but I was introduced to it through volunteerism and working with the Special Olympics. And from there, I just fell in love with nonprofit, and I fell in love with the idea of what it means to be able to pour back into your community, to support underserved and marginalized communities, and really just to give people an opportunity to bridge resources and empathy. And that has really just set my trajectory, my path on working with people, getting to know the history behind communities, and also preserving that history to make sure that people always feel a sense of belonging, always have access to opportunities, as well as that connectivity, which was something that I felt always growing up and something that I just wanted to continue to be a part of in my career. Growing up in Nashville, I feel like I stand on the shoulders of so many Nashville heroes that I don't think we talk enough about. So I think about heroes, community leaders like Kwame Lillard, heroes like Francis Guest, even some that are still living today like Gail Carr Williams, and the people who really just set a trajectory, but also taught me in my early days and as a child the importance of giving back and taking care of your community. I also think about individuals like Sizwe, who was, when I was growing up, he was someone who didn't necessarily have a lot of money, but he used his time and his talent to create these community gardens and would invite individuals out to come and be a part of that. And so for me, that was my blueprint. That to me was what I considered and what I just knew to be true, and what I knew to be the model of how you serve your people, how you serve your community, and how you continue to just show up. So a lot of what I do, and when I think about how I can use my platform, use my resources, I immediately think back to those individuals that I just named and really think about how they put aside any sort of notoriety. They weren't even thinking about notoriety or what it would mean to give back to their community. They truly were thinking about the people and thinking about the greater good of Nashville and what's best for Nashville. And so that is how I go into everything, is what's best for Nashville. How can we preserve the greatness of Nashville, but how can we make sure that Nashville, who it is, continues to serve the people who live, work, and play here for generations to come? I would probably tell my younger self to not wait for permission. I think oftentimes, and I speak to a lot of young people who are either early in their careers or eager to jump into their careers, and they are always waiting for someone to give them a yes or for someone to open a door for them. And I would tell my younger self, and I struggled with that when I was early in my career too, but I would say you don't have to wait for permission. If you have an idea, if you have a hope, if you have a dream, if you have an opportunity that is going to change the lives around you and the people that you serve and the people who come within your orbit, go after it. Go after your dreams, chase after them, and create your own pathway, your own journey into where you want to be. But also, you don't have to have it all figured out. I think when I was early entering into my career, I really thought that I had to have the linear path of I want to be at this level, then go to the next level, and then so on and so forth. And you really don't. Life is a jungle gym. It can really take you on some different pathways that you probably would have never thought of, and you just need to embrace it. Embrace the journey. Don't wait for permission. I never thought that I would be in this position that I am today. And I really take it as not only a moment of gratitude and a sense of responsibility, but I really think about how I can use my platform to be a voice for the voiceless, and really think about how I can always advocate for the communities that I know of, the communities, even the ones that I don't know of, but thinking about how I can continue to create access and opportunity and introduce some of the challenges and issues, but also some of the great things that are happening in our communities through the platform that I have. It is extremely important, and I prioritize this, that as much as I may get exhausted or overwhelmed, I know that the fight continues, and I know that I have to continue pouring into others, but also pouring back into myself to make sure that for my children, their children, for future Nashvillians, for future generations to come, that we're continuing to fight the good fight, but also thinking about how everything that we do is always attributed back to how can we make this a better city? How can we make this a better community for the generations to follow? I immediately think about my mother. And I grew up in the church, and my mom was one of those. Again, we didn't have a lot of resources and a lot of money growing up, but my mom was one who would clean the church on Saturdays. That was her philanthropic gift back to the church. There was an older lady, we called her Mother Pearl, who lived in the neighborhood, lived right across the street from the church. And every Sunday she would cook some of the most amazing meals, but she would open her doors up to anyone, if you were a member at the church or not, but you could come over to her house and grab a plate. And to me, that is philanthropy beyond just dollars and thinking about large checks and things like that. My mother, Mother Pearl, those were two women who used their talent. They thought about what they could contribute back to the people that they love, the people that they know needed this resource or their service, and they used their gifts to do that. And I think when I think about time, talent, and treasure, those are usually the two examples that come to mind of how you can take something that you have I don't even know if my mother realizes that that was such a gift back to so many, or if Mother Pearl, she's long gone now, but I don't even know if she realized that was a gift, but I know that it meant a lot to so many people, especially people like me, who it still is imprinted and resonates with me almost 40 years later. I define being a game changer as someone who isn't afraid to break barriers, but also sees a need or sees an opportunity and uses their platform, whether it's their time, whether it's their treasure, their talent, or even if it's their truth, they use it as an opportunity to create and advocate for those who may not be able to advocate for themselves. And they're not afraid to do that. And they are constantly speaking up and speaking out in rooms that may not look like them, but also they are using that as a way to say, you know what, I'm going to raise awareness. I'm going to get on my soapbox, and I am going to use my voice to speak up for the voiceless. My advice that I would give to someone who is new to Nashville and looking to get involved would be to simply just get involved. I think there's so many ways to, whether it's volunteering your time, whether it is attending and getting involved with. The thing that I love about Nashville is that we have so many events and activations that are community centered. So I think about African Street Festival, I think about Nolensville Road, and we have all of these community and neighborhood festivals, a lot of community and neighborhood groups that I think all you have to do is go to a meeting and you are immediately welcomed into this family, into this community. And then from there, continue to show up, continue to be involved, continue to find ways to even get involved in our school systems of going to volunteer and read to kids. To me, I just feel like it's very, very simple, and you can just get plugged in a number of ways and find what you're passionate about, but also what's going to make a difference. I am excited about bringing together women of color to create giving circles. I think Black and brown women, we lead the charge in so many ways of when there is a challenge or when there is an opportunity to find a solution, we're at the forefront of it. And Black and brown women, we are philanthropists. And I'm excited about working on a project that brings those circles together for us to identify ways to really amplify our talents, amplify our treasure, amplify our time to be able to give back to those nonprofits, the community, the individuals who need us, who we love and we care about. And so I'm excited to be a convener in that space and really push the needle, or move the needle rather, in how we can show up stronger and more intentional for the communities that we serve and love.